Due to recent actions by the Federal Trade Commission and the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, YouTube has become a scary place for kids' content or content that might attract kids under the age of 13. The problem is defining exactly what content, kids' content, and content that attracts kids means. Heck, even some of the lawyers I follow online say the guidelines are too vague to make compliance easy. It's possible that simply reporting or mentioning things like recreation department activities, color run, Easter egg hunt, trunk or treat, street fair, etc., or police department related items like the Explorers Club, Cops for Kids, National Night Out, neighborhood visits, etc., parades, murals, Livingston Youth Football, Livingston High School Athletics, and so on could be caught up in YouTube's AI sweep for kid attractive content. That would not be a good thing. It's a nightmare for creators now. I don't want to take up a lot of time for all the gory details, but I do want to ask you to do something if you would please. In the description below this video, there is a link to a petition to save family-friendly content on YouTube. Please, please, please sign it. There is also a link to the FTC comment page and links to help you out if you don't quite know what to say. Just a few words. That's all I ask. The deadline is December 9th. With that out of the way, greetings, everyone. This is the Gardening Snail of Livingston, California. If you're interested in what's happening at City Hall, among other things, or just want to keep track of what our local politicians are up to, welcome to the channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when future videos are uploaded. From the November 19th, 2019 City Council meeting, Council Member Aguilar and Baptista reports, and Mayor Samra's report. The clip that follows is from the November 19th, 2019 City Council meeting. In it, Council Members Baptista and Aguilar spoke mainly about the Livingston Historical Museum, while Mayor Samra spoke mainly about motorists causing problems in the Briarwood area.
Baptista?
I just want to thank you for your newsletter that it was provided to us. Again, I adore the Historical Museum. I've been in there a few times. And it's grown quite a bit. And one of the workshops that I had attended when I was at the League of Cities had addressed preserving our community's history. Who are we? And many of our youth, many of our citizens, just like the comments in the articles say, is, I didn't even know it existed. So, I mean, I would like more people to come out into the community and really find their roots here in Livingston, where they started, and I've been here nearly 50 years, and I love this community, and just finding out and keeping and preserving who our identity, who we really are. So thank you for that.
If you have any stories that you'd like to share that we could use in the newsletter,
Actually, what I'm trying to spearhead is, again, I'm from Livingston Youth Football, and I want to take back that history of how youth sports have come across the ages for Livingston, and particularly in football, who's gone on to the military, who's gone on to college, and where they starting from Mr. Garcia onward to the present day. So that would be something I would like to sit again with people in the community.
Mr. Aguilar?
Just want to say also, thank you for definitely keeping that museum operating. I've been in there several times. I've taken my son years ago, actually went in there looking for some fire department history, and I was able to make a copy of that picture right there of the original fire station. But yeah, definitely a lot of history, very neat, and I recommend everybody take a trip with a family. So thank you. And that's it.
Thank you for me. It seems to be time for the museum today. I hope everybody goes to at least go there once. And I ask you to pull the yearbook from the high school in 1979. You guys won't recognize me in that picture. Beanpole there at that, that the old days, And also, that piece here for the phone, it reminds me of Green Acres, where they have that, so there's a lot of good stuff in the museum. So I hope everybody has the opportunity to go there and look at least once. And on the other comment I have is, I'm glad that we're getting started with our traffic committee or whatever, for the lack of whatever we're going to come up with. As the chief mentioned, everybody knows Sunday we had the Sikh 550th anniversary celebration. First of all, the community wanted me to pass on, as always, a big thank you to entire staff at City of Livingston, police, explorers, public works, everybody. That's just pitched right in. You couldn't ask for better support as always. Each year support's always there, and the community truly appreciates that. And of course, when you have a large number of people, you also get a large number of concerns raised. And we all know the tragedy that happened at Briarwood several years back with a pedestrian. We all know that. And unfortunately, a small group of people, motorists, always cause concerns. And I've had complaints of speeders going through Briarwood. And the citizens are really, or the residents in that area are really, really saying, please do something, because we don't want the history to repeat itself. We don't know what you can do. They asking for speed bumps, they're asking for any type of control. They're saying they literally have drag racers on the street sometimes. They'll line up next to each other and just right down the street. So I don't know how long it will take for the committee to come up, but at least until then, I'm asking the police department. The chief knows what to do. We don't have to tell him. He knows. So, and also, it may be one of the first areas the traffic committee can look at to see what we can do to slow things down. It doesn't have to be speed bumps, but I think they're not looking for any particular technology, as it were, but they are looking for a solution. They said if speed bumps work, we'll take it. But they just they said they're afraid to put their kids out there sometimes. So, Chief, I'm sure you heard about it too, Chief. So if you wish to add to that, I'd be more than pleased to do so.
It's actually very fitting, because one of the tasks that the new sergeant will be tasked with is putting together some traffic safety plans and some enforcement plans. And so one of the things that we can look at is how we can enforce speeding on that street, and then looking at some sort of mechanisms for citizens to notify the police department when there are issues, traffic safety issues, that we can, assign to an officer to look at, investigate, and enforce. So, yeah. But we will definitely be looking at that.
Yeah, one of the things, and I know what they do, but I don't know what it calls, but sometimes for traffic studies, for whatever, they put those little strips on there that counts how many vehicles or how fast they're going. Can something like that maybe done to give you better data?
Sure. Yeah, one of the things is the traffic safety study and the counts. That's something the engineering department will be very familiar with. But to enforce speed violations on specific streets, you have to have that current street survey. Yes. With the 85th percentile being a certain speed, and then you can enforce it. But some streets you don't need that, like residential 25 miles. You don't need a traffic survey, but it will look at the different complaints that come in there, and we'll figure out what works out best. And at some point, if we have a major issue, then we might look at conducting a survey. But those type of things do take resources away from other projects. That's the thing. We just
Yeah.
have to balance those needs out.
Yeah, and Chief, I understand that it takes resources. We all know and we understand it, but when you have your kids and you're worried about your kids, we look at resources, they're looking at their kids or their family members, So they don't see it as resources. They see it as how do we protect our family. So, and I understand, and I know we're always doing our best, but so perhaps that's be one of the first areas, like you said, whatever you have planned for next sergeant or whatever you do out there, I think with that engineering or whatever, I think that truly needs to be paid attention to.
Yeah, no, and I'll agree with you 100%. We it's not that we're not going to do surveys. We always send our officers out to the schools and force violations around schools, and we will do that. Kids come number one. What I'm saying is every time a complaint comes in, we can't do a survey for that street because you might get 50 complaints, and those things are just, we have to prioritize and find out which ones are the most active.
I'm just relaying what I hear, as always, And I told them I would tell you, but they said they wanted to make sure, and that's the reason I'm doing it in a public forum. Normally I just go to the city manager or say, hey, I've heard these complaints as the usual pass-through, but I almost wanted to let them know that the city heard you, so that's the reason I'm saying it here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
And I did also want to give Babs a big shout out for all the work. If you look at some of these pictures here, these are from the museum that we made copies of, and there's a lot of history here. If you guys know the Dalton gang was here. There's some neat stuff going on there.
Dalton gang was here.
And some of the first settlers way back when, some of them settled right there on the Merced River. I mean, it's fascinating to go to the museum. But thank you, Babs, for all the work you do. Thank you.
Excuse me, but we have a picture of the chief and his grandson.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm not that old yet, but I am a lifetime member of the museum, so I'd encourage anybody that wants to be a member, see Babs.
If you like this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out the description below this video for those links to the FTC petition and comment page I mentioned earlier. If you don't like what I have here, that's okay. Thanks for sticking around this long anyway. Either way, tell me about it in the comments. You also might want to check out some of the other links in the description below. I am including a link to the most recent Utility Rate Stakeholders Committee meetings in the video description below this video, since the next Proposition 218 hearing is not too far away. I am also including the contact information for the police chief, county supervisor, city manager, and city council members, just in case you want to contact them directly.